Hi, Joe.
Hi there,
Hi.
Doctor.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, same here.
Just before we start, I want to make sure we're on the same page. Is that Dr. Jones, who's the doctor you've been working with your injury, contacted me and let you know also that he thought it would be a good idea if we met, since he had some concerns about your recovering from the injury. And so what I'd like to do today is what's called a health and behavior assessment, where I get kind of a big picture where things are for you now. A little bit going back into your history, but more of it now, how things are for you, to see if we can find out something that might be helpful to you to help you to get over your injury, get back on your feet, and get going.
Sure, that sounds good.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right, now just to make sure that you're also aware that because I'm doing it through workers' comp, then not only will your doctor be aware of it, but other people involved in your claim will also be, including the MCO, your employer, anybody directly involved with your injury claim. So
Okay.
it's okay to go ahead?
Yes, that'd
Okay.
be fine.
All right, well, first of all, how did you get here today? How did you come here?
Well, I drove.
Okay. And when were you born?
I was born in 1976,
Okay, and when's your birthday?
October 25th.
Okay. And it makes you how old now then?
That makes me 38.
In what city were you born?
I was born in Cleveland.
Are your parents alive?
Yes, they both are.
Were your parents married? Were they together when you were born?
Yes.
And overall, just kind of a big picture, how was your childhood, would you say?
Oh, I thought it was standard. It was okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it was all right.
Anything particular, one way or the other? Anything particularly good, particularly bad?
No, I mean, I was raised in a fairly disciplined environment, but nothing that I would think would be abusive.
Okay. Oh, how do you get along with your parents these days?
Oh, better than when I was with them.
Okay,
or
that's not
living with
unusual,
them.
is it?
Yeah.
No. Okay. Would you say you're close to them, or just occasional contact?
Oh, occasional contact.
Okay. Any brothers? Any sisters?
Yes, I have a brother.
One brother. Okay. And is it older or younger than you?
He's younger than me.
Okay. And how would you say you get along with him?
He's a bit different than I am, but we get along real well.
Okay. How far did you go through school?
High school?
Graduated?
Yes.
And what kind of grades did you get in school?
B's and C's.
Did you go into anything other than general classes, like vocational, college prep, work experience, any special ed classes, business?
Just like a machining class
Okay.
and like a vocational
Was vocational?
setting. Well, it's sort of like an extension from the high school. I just took the one class.
Oh, just the one
in
class?
Machining, yes.
Okay. And otherwise, there were the general basic classes then?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you end up repeating or skipping any grades?
Oh, no. No.
Were you involved in activities, sports, clubs, student government, anything like that?
I played football.
Okay, that's great. Well, what's the longest you've worked in one place?
Oh, 9 years.
And where was that?
The place that I'm working at right
Okay.
now.
Okay. And what was your job title? What was your job there?
Oh, basically truck driver. I started out as a truck driver, still am.
Okay.
I mean, they thought about putting me into management, but I really didn't want to do that sort of thing. I just want to be in my truck by myself.
When was that you got offered that, or it was discussed about your being in management?
About 3 years ago.
About 3 years ago. Okay. Well, when's the last day you actually worked?
May 14th.
Okay. Of this year?
Yes.
Haven't worked anywhere else, done
Oh.
anything else, any kind of employment?
No. Wish I could have, but
Okay. Okay. And you're still officially an employee there? You're still on medical leave?
oh,
Is
yes.
that- okay.
Yeah, hope so.
Okay. You haven't heard anything to the contrary?
No.
Okay. Were you ever in the military?
In the Navy.
In the Navy? When did you go in?
When I was 18.
And when did you come back out?
3 years later.
Okay. What kind of discharge?
Honorable.
Okay, that's good. Are you married or ever been married?
Yes, I'm married now.
And do you have any kids?
Yes, I have 2 kids.
Okay, daughter and a son?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever been arrested for anything? Any involvement with the law?
No.
Okay. Like I said, these are questions I ask everybody about just to make sure what's going on.
Okay.
Have you had any kind of psychological, psychiatric treatment, counseling, anything along those lines?
No.
Ever been admitted to the hospital psychiatrically?
No.
I asked that separate because some people get admitted but they never follow up, so I just asked that as well. Ever gone to the emergency department, emergency room, for what turned out to be psychological reasons?
No.
Like panic, anxiety? Okay. Okay. What about drugs? Have you ever been involved with drugs, street drugs, or misusing prescriptions?
Oh, I smoked a little bit of pot when I was younger.
How far back would you say that was?
Oh, in my teens and early 20s, a little bit. Mostly just in my teens.
Okay. When you say a little bit, how often would you say you were using it when you were using it?
Oh, in my teens, probably once a week, maybe,
Okay.
something like that.
Once a week, but not really more than often than that?
No, I mean, I would just, do some partying here and there on the weekends. That was about it.
Okay. Ever had any problems from using it, either at school or with your family? Any kind of problems?
Well, my dad didn't like it, but
Okay.
other than that, it wasn't any. Well, my mom didn't like it either, but it wasn't anything major, if that
Okay.
makes any sense.
Okay. And when's the last time that you used it, as best as you can remember?
Oh, my goodness, it was probably 15 years ago.
Oh,
so-
okay. Good, long time
Yeah, I
ago.
gave that up. I don't want to do that anymore.
Okay. And no other drugs?
No drugs, no.
And never needed any kind of treatment to stop the marijuana? You're able just to stop on your own?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and what about alcohol? Do you drink alcohol?
No, yeah, a little bit.
Okay, and how often would you say, on average, these days?
Oh, that's hard to say. I mean, whenever I'm sitting on the porch after work, sometimes I'll have a beer or two.
When you say one or two beers, you're talking about 12-ounce beers? You're talking about 16, 22? What size?
Well, 12-ounce
12
cans.
ounce.
Yeah.
Okay. I asked because I've had people tell me they drank a couple beers and they were 2 40-ouncers. That's a big difference.
Oh,
So
okay.
I hope you don't mind me asking these kind of details because I just need it clear on what the real scoop is. Now, you said you might sit on the porch after work. Now, since you're not working, you find yourself drinking a little more, about the same?
Maybe a little bit more, but not much more.
Okay. And how often would you say? How many days a week would you say you have a beer or two?
Probably every other day, maybe.
Okay, so Joe, you said that you have 1 or 2 beers every other day on the porch. When are you out on the porch? I mean, is this during the day, in the evening?
Usually in the
In
evening.
the evening.
Mm-hmm.
When you say 1 or 2, is that, I mean, literally 1 or 2?
Sometimes it's 1 or 2.
Okay, and what's on the upper end or the lower end? Is it sometimes 1, sometimes 5, sometimes 3? I mean,
Well, occasionally it could be as high as 5, maybe.
okay, what seems to make the difference? How much you're drinking?
Oh, depending on how much pain I'm in,
Okay,
it seems to help out a little bit.
so you're drinking the beer in response to the feeling of pain, physical pain,
Mm-hmm.
the back pain. Were you drinking that way before the injury?
Oh, no, I wasn't drinking quite as much.
Okay.
I have reasoning behind that, just to let you know. I didn't want to take as many prescription drugs like the Percocet and that sort of thing, so I figured I'd just do a natural type pain reliever.
Okay, and
That
well,
makes
alcohol
sense.
alcohol is an analgesic. I mean, it does reduce the perception of pain. But on the other hand, that does bring about its own problems. But you're probably aware that if you were to drink and continue to drink to deal with the pain, to mask the pain, then you'd have to continue to drink in an ongoing way, and over time you'd have to increase how much you drank. So there's some definite drawbacks to drinking. from what you said, you don't really have any kind of prior history of problems from drinking in any way, form, or fashion. So it doesn't seem as though that you have a drinking problem per se, but it seems as though you might be using the alcohol, using the beer in a way that's not intended. And it can actually interfere. I mean, if you look at your prescriptions, I mean, especially with Percocet and also with muscle relaxers, drinking is not something that goes well with taking those medications. So it's, in a sense, you're working against yourself. I understand your intention is to help relieve the pain, but on the other hand, you're rolling the dice.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And I'm thinking that there might be some better ways that you could address that.
I don't know. It just seemed logical to me. I feel better, so how can I be rolling the dice if I feel better?
Well, drug interactions and side effects of alcohol itself. I mean, developing tolerances, and you're familiar with that. I mean, the more people drink, the more they need to drink to get the same effect, whether it's to feel happy or whether it's to reduce pain. I mean, it's one of those things that increases over time.
I see.
And you're setting yourself up going down a road that's not really well advised. So you'd have to talk to Dr. Jones about drinking at all. I mean, he might say, I don't need to drink at all, but given the medications you're on. But I'll defer to him on that. But I think there might be some other things that we could talk about that would be helpful to help you deal better with the pain and the circumstances.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Have you ever had any problems from drinking? You said no arrests, so I assume no DUI.
No, nothing legally. Never had a problem, no.
Ever miss work because of drinking, or have any health problems that you know of because of drinking?
No.
Okay. Ever had any blackouts from drinking?
Yeah.
How many times would you say, if you can count them, how many times would you say?
Oh, well, that was a long time ago. I don't know, maybe a dozen.
Okay. When was the last time you'd say?
Sometime in my 20s.
Oh, so
after I got out of the Navy.
So it was a while ago then.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And what about tobacco?
Oh, I smoke a little bit.
Cigarettes?
Yeah.
How much you end up smoking in an average day?
Probably a pack and a half.
Okay. Have you ever tried to quit?
No.
Okay. Have you thought about it?
Well, I thought about it, but it kind of relaxes me, so I don't.
Okay.
I think there's a benefit to it.
Okay.
Probably you would disagree with that, but.
Well, you know, the standard medical response is that's not good for you, but maybe you wouldn't be surprised how many people say that. It gives them some relaxation, it gives them some peace of mind, it gives them kind of a break in the action. So, but let me ask you a little bit about your medical, other than your lower back sprain and strain, which is what your injury is determined to be. Any other health concerns?
No.
Any other health conditions, diagnoses, symptoms, kind of problems that you have other than that? Okay. And what's it like with your back? How would you describe that?
It hurts.
Okay. When did it start hurting when you look back on it?
After I got out of the truck, out of the tractor, and I stepped pretty hard on the ground, and that's what seemed to jar my back.
Okay. And what did you do at that time when you noticed that something happened with your back or something was going on there?
I just started rubbing it.
Okay.
Because I thought maybe I just sort of, I don't know, sprained it or something.
Okay.
I figured I'd just rub it out and go on, and it just never stopped hurting.
Okay, you're probably not unfamiliar with pain, having played football and all, so probably at first you thought, no big deal, right?
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was just going to go away within a few minutes, and it seemed to get a little bit worse and worse.
When did you first turn for some kind of medical attention or to get checked out?
About a week after it happened. It started progressively getting worse, so I figured I'd better go to the doctor. My wife got on my butt about that, so I don't really like going to doctors. No offense.
No, no, I understand. But she knows you. She knew you probably didn't really want to go, so she encouraged you
Right.
to go. And then you found out that it was pretty severe sprain, enough to get you off work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that was with Dr. Jones. Did you end up going to the company doctor, so to speak, the injury doctor?
Yeah, I really didn't. I wanted to keep working. I didn't want to go to him, but yeah, I went ahead and
Okay.
saw him.
Okay. Now, as far as medications go, the information I have from your doctor is that you're taking 800 milligram ibuprofen, taking tizanidine, which is a muscle relaxer, and you got a 30-day supply of what's called Percocet, oxycodone with Tylenol. And as far as the records go, you're taking those 3 medications. Is that consistent with your information? Are you taking any other medications, any blood pressure, cholesterol? I mean, you say you didn't have any other health conditions. Sometimes people don't count cholesterol as a health condition. But any other medications you're taking?
No, just those.
Anything you take over the counter? Any supplements?
No, I take a multiple vitamin.
Okay.
My wife nags me about that. I
She's
really
looking
don't
out
think
for
it's
you, huh?
necessary, but
Okay.
that's what she does, I guess.
So to keep the peace, and it doesn't really hurt you to take it, huh?
No, once a day I can handle that.
Okay, that's probably a good decision there. Okay. What's your height and weight these days?
I'm 5'9" and 170.
Is your weight pretty stable? Is that typically what it is?
Yeah, it's fairly stable.
Okay. Let me ask you some about your sleep here. How has your sleep been lately?
It's been erratic.
In what way would you say?
Well, I wake up multiple times in pain.
Okay. When did that start?
Soon after I got injured.
Okay. What was it like before?
I'd get up a couple of times, once or twice. But I really didn't have many problems sleeping beforehand.
So you get up a couple times and you would go back to sleep?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, use the toilet, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Or noise from the outside? What kind of things were waking you up?
Just normal waking up,
Okay.
going to the bathroom. And,
Okay. But now it's more often even than a couple times?
oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you do when you wake up during the night?
Just try to lay back in bed and go back to sleep, or sometimes I'll turn the TV on.
Okay. And it does take a while to get back to sleep then?
Well, it does, because I start thinking about work
Okay.
and what I'm missing and
Okay.
life and pain and all that, so I just have to settle myself down again.
Okay. Now, you don't have any trouble going to sleep?
Oh, sometimes I do, but most of the time I can get to sleep pretty easly when I start out.
Pretty much every night, or how many nights in a week would you say you go to sleep fairly well?
Most of the nights.
Okay. Okay. How would you say your appetite's been doing lately?
Oh, it's hasn't affected that at all. I still have a pretty healthy appetite.
Okay. As far as the kind of food you eat, would you say that you tend to be pretty mindful of that, eating good things? Do you eat snacks, junk? How would you describe the kind of food that you eat?
I eat everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you eat meals? Do you tend to eat meals, or you just kind of graze through the day?
I eat meals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you had any thoughts of suicide at all?
No.
None at all you can remember? Okay. I would just ask just to make sure. It doesn't seem to me like you would have thought that, but don't want to overlook something that might be important. So.
Well, when you ask me thoughts of suicide, are you? I mean, you're talking about serious thoughts of suicide.
Even
You're
just
talking
passing
about
thoughts that you remember. I mean, most people have passing thoughts; they just don't remember having them. But if you remember them, they might be important.
Oh no,
Okay.
I don't.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you a little bit here about stress. Now, when people get injured, it's pretty much of an upheaval in the person's life, big changes, sudden changes when you have a work injury like that. And so that brings on stress, but it doesn't mean there aren't other stressors. So, Joe, overall, what would you say are kind of things that are going on that make you unusually nervous, tense, anxious, stressed?
Just everyday life at work. I mean, you're talking about after the injury or
Yeah,
before,
here, well,
after
both,
the injury?
both, both are important.
Well, I mean, I'm on the road a lot and driving the truck, and sometimes I get upset at people that are driving on the road. I mean, there's some real idiots out there that I have to watch out for. And
Okay, I think I've seen some of those same people, yeah. So
you understand
No,
what
I
I'm
understand
saying.
what you're saying there. It
Okay.
gets frustrating and that. Now, that's when you're driving the truck? I mean, just
Right.
driving your car, is it the same, or is it somewhat different, would you say? Since you're not driving the truck right now.
Right. It's about the same.
About the same,
I get
okay.
upset with people sometimes when I'm just driving my car.
How upset? I mean, do you get into what most people would refer to as road rage? Do you give them the finger, yell out the window, ever get out of your truck?
No, I've never gotten out of my truck or anything like that. No, I'd yell a little bit here and there.
Okay.
I mean, just normal things.
Okay.
Nothing unusual.
Nothing that you think would cause a problem? I haven't had any problems. Altercations?
Oh, no.
Okay,
No.
okay, that's good. Anything else come to mind as far as stress and things that make you particularly frustrated or tense?
No, just the kids sometimes are loud. I mean,
Okay.
that's about it.
Okay.
I think that's usual, though.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd call it stress, but it's just, I get a little aggravated like everybody.
Has that changed lately since you're home more and you're not working?
Well, I think it's changed. It's elevated somewhat because I'm in pain,
Okay,
and so that sort of makes it worse, I think.
okay,
Tracy, my wife, says I'm not myself lately. I've been hearing a lot about that, but
okay.
I think I just tell her it's because I'm in a lot of pain, so I just need to. I don't have the patience level that I used to have.
Well, is there anything in particular you do to relax? Anything you find that's calming even for a while?
Just sitting on the porch, having a few beers here and there, and that sort of calms me down. Watching TV, I like doing that.
And TV's probably the number one selection I hear people make when they talk about ways that just try to take your mind off of things. TV's always there. Anything else come to mind?
No.
Those are the main things right there?
Yeah.
Okay, Joe, for the next set of items have to do with paying attention, concentrating, memory, things like that. Okay, toward that, I'm going to name 3 objects. I'd like you to remember them because in a little bit, I'm going to ask you to tell me what they are. Piano, car, apple. Okay, so I'd like you to remember piano, car, apple, because I'll be asking you for those.
Okay.
Now tell me, what is today?
Today is Monday,
And what's the date?
October 27th,
And the year?
2014,
And what city, what town are we in right now?
Cuyahoga Falls,
Okay, and what's your name?
Joe Dore,
And what's my name?
Dr. Sips.
Okay, and what would you say you're here for today?
Consultation for my back.
Okay. Okay, next thing I'd like you to do, this is a little bit different, but out loud, I want you to count backward from 20 by threes.
20, 17, 14, 11, 8, 5, 2.
Okay, now this time I'm going to say some numbers, and when I'm done, I'd like you to repeat them back to me in the same order. 6, 8, 9, 2, 5, 1.
6, 8, 9, 2, 5, 1.
Okay, now this time, Joe, I'll be saying some different numbers, and when I'm done, I'd like you to repeat them to me backwards. I'll say them in one order. I want you to say them in reverse order.
Okay.
4, 9, 7, 1.
1, 9, 7, 4.
Okay, now try these again backwards. 1, 3, 6, 8.
8, 6, 3, 1.
Okay, now what does this saying mean? What goes around, comes around.
What you reap, what you sow, is what you sow.
Okay, now here's some items of a different sort. In what direction does the sun set?
It sets in the west.
Okay. Name 4 men who have been presidents of the United States since 1950.
Eisenhower, Kennedy, Nixon, Ford.
Okay. Here's some items of a different sort again. In what way are an orange and a banana alike?
They're both fruit.
Okay, good. In what way are a dog and a lion alike?
They're both mammals.
In what way are a guitar and a trumpet alike?
They're musical instruments.
All right, now in this next section, I'm going to ask you some questions about an average day lately. I know not every day is exactly the same, but we'd call a typical day what you might do as you go through. First of all, who lives where you live? Who lives in your household?
My family.
And who's that include?
Tracy, my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny, my son. And Linda, my daughter.
Okay. Okay. What time usually are you getting up these days? What's the time or range of times?
Usually around, well, now that I'm off work, I sleep until 7 or 8.
What was it like when you were working?
No, I got up at 5.
Okay. And what kind of things do you do after you get up in the morning?
Now I just eat breakfast and maybe do a couple chores and around the house and watch TV.
Okay. What about as you go into the afternoon? What kind of things might you be doing then?
Oh, same thing. Watch
Okay.
TV and maybe do a couple things around the house.
Okay. And in the evenings?
Just watch TV.
Okay. What time do you end up going to bed? A range of times?
Oh, between 10 and 11.
10, 11? What time would you have gone to bed when you were working? When would that be?
Oh, around 9.
Okay. Now, is there anything in particular that you'd call a hobby? Anything that you do now or have done that you would
No.
say? No? Okay.
I don't really have any hobbies. I just watch TV. I guess that's
Okay.
kind of lame, but I don't have a very interesting life, I guess.
Okay, go ahead and tell me those 3 objects I asked you to remember.
Piano, car,
Any guess?
I can't think of
Okay,
the
we'll see if it
other
comes
one.
to you. You got the 2 of them there. See if the other
All
one
right.
comes to you. If not a hobby, anything, a particular area of interest, if you wouldn't call it a hobby.
I like to watch sports on TV. I like to watch football, baseball.
Okay. It's probably a good time of year for you then, with the World Series and the football
Yeah.
going full tilt.
Yeah.
Anything else you might like to watch on television?
Just some, sci-fi films and things like that.
Okay. Do you listen to radio? Do you listen to music?
Oh yeah, I like music. Yeah.
Anything in particular you might read?
The newspaper.
Okay. And people you stay in touch with, talk to, spend time with, have some kind of contact with, who would they be?
Once in a while I see, the neighbor in that. and a couple of friends from work sometimes call me. That's about it. I really don't do a whole lot of socializing. Except Tim from, next door, he'll come over and we'll talk on the porch and have just have a good time a little bit.
Okay. And what about people in the family? Do you stay in touch in particular with anyone in the family?
You mean my extended family and that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not really.
Okay. Okay, and you mentioned household chores. What kind of things would you focus in on, take care of, help out with, say, yours to do? What kind of things would they be?
Well, I mean, I used to do a lot more before I hurt my back, but I mean, I can mow the grass still, as long as I'm on the riding lawnmower. Okay. And try to take care of the trash.
Okay. Anything else come to mind?
No, not really. I used to, fix the car now and then, but I just can't get around with the back situation as it is.
So it's the back circumstances there really put a damper on things for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, when did you first start having the pain that you're having now?
It happened immediately after I got hurt, and then it got worse.
Okay. And where's the pain located, would you say?
In my lower back.
Lower back.
Yeah.
Is it in the center? Does it go across both sides, one side more than the other?
It seems like it's in the center, but then it gets so bad it feels like it's all across my whole back.
Okay. And how do you see that the pain and your back overall, how it limits you? You mentioned, for instance, not working on the car.
Mm-hmm.
What other ways do you see that you're limited by the pain or the actual physical condition causing the pain?
I just can't get around like I used to. I mean, I used to play with the kids and that. I used to be able to run. I can't really run anymore without a lot of pain. Okay. And just to let you know, the riding the lawnmower situation, mm-hmm. I can only do that just a little bit at a time, and then I have to take a rest, especially because it gets kind of bumpy and it's vibrating and everything. I can't do that as often as I would wish.
Understandable. Okay, and when you talked about the can't get around like you used to, do you find yourself using a cane or a walking stick, any kind of assisting device?
No, Tracy wanted me to get a cane. I'm not going to get a cane. I mean, I'm not.
There's a certain limit.
I'm still in my 30s.
Multivitamin is one thing, but a cane.
Exactly.
Okay.
You understand where I'm coming from.
Well, did a physical therapist or a doctor recommend that? Not just your wife?
Well, yeah,
okay.
But I don't want to get dependent on a cane. I mean, if I start doing that, then I'm afraid that.
Well, that's a trade-off
all the time.
Yeah, I'm not a physical therapist or occupational therapist, but that's a judgment call they make because they don't want you to be at risk of falling, and on the other hand, like you said, they don't want you to become dependent on it. They want you to work through the condition that you're dealing with, and not to enable the condition to continue longer than it needs to. So that's their call with you, but. I can understand your concerns in that way. Now, one of the things you mentioned is when you are mowing the grass that you take breaks in that. And in pain management we talk about pacing and planning. It's a strategy. Would you say that you do have any other strategies that you're dealing with the pain? I mean, it could be ice or heat, stretches, anything else that you're doing to try to help your back?
I do a lot of sitting.
Okay.
I try to sit up straight, but even that doesn't seem to help. And of course, I have the medication and all.
Do you use any braces or supports?
Tracy gives me a pillow for my back, and that seems to help.
Okay. put it down lower back when you're sitting just at home or in a car or both?
Well, just at home.
Okay.
I probably should use it for the car.
Okay. Okay, and what are your thoughts about returning to work? I understand that at this point you're probably not quite sure exactly when, but just what's going on inside you about going back to work?
I can't wait. Okay. I want to get back to work.
Okay, Joe, any idea on that third object? You said you remembered the first two. They were piano and car.
Mm-hmm.
Any guess on that third one? If you don't, that's all right. You can just make a guess.
Banana? Was that it?
Oh, that was another item. I did mention that, but not the three objects. The other one was apple. It was also a fruit, though. So, yeah, I can see how you got that. So was there any...
I'm sorry, does that mean something that I didn't remember?
No, that's a measure of delayed recall, but it's not anything to worry about. Just to give an idea. And you have to look at the whole context of everything else. I mean, the questions about time, place, and person, you got those, and the counting the numbers forward and backward, you're fine not to worry there. Some people don't do at all well on that, and that gives us important information. If somebody maybe had an injury that included a brain injury, I mean, they might have some cognitive functioning that's really sliding. So we just try to get a big picture, like I said, of what's going on, and don't want to assume that somebody's fine. Want to try to get some evidence of that. So that's what that's about. But yeah, nothing to worry about there as far as I can see here. Do you have any concerns? You didn't say you have any headaches or anything. You haven't hit your head. Nothing for you to be concerned about. No. So
well, thanks for explaining that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm glad to. Sure, any part of this. Well, is there anything I didn't ask you that you wanted to tell me or that you think would be important for me to know? I know I asked you about a variety of different things.
No, I can't think of anything.
Okay. Because based on all the information I have, including the questionnaires you filled out and the information I got from Dr. Jones and all the information that you provided me today, as good evidence, I think, to make a recommendation that I believe it would be helpful if we had some follow-up meetings to help you with what's called pain management and also help deal with some stress management. There's some things that you mentioned along the way, the stress of not working, the stress of being at home and not with what's familiar to you with the routines of work, and also with the pain. One thing in particular you mentioned was using alcohol as a way of trying to reduce pain. And I would imagine you might also be drinking as a way of trying to relax, because tension, physical pain, stress, they all tie in together. So what we could do is we could meet and start next week. We could have a meeting and could give you some suggestions for dealing more effectively with pain. In fact, what I'd like to do is give you a CD of relaxation instructions today. Do you have a way of listening to a CD? Mm-hmm. I mean, these days everything seems to be more electronic files than on CD, but if you do, that'd be great. And it's just a CD of me going through 9 minutes of relaxation instructions. It's muscle tension, relaxation, contrast, with a focus on breathing and kind of a positive mindset, key words. And it's not a script, it's not anything you memorize, it's a starting place to practice some relaxation. And as you practice it, then you develop your own style from it. So you don't have to memorize it, but you just kind of go with it and develop your own way of dealing with the tension and stress. The muscle tension that you have in your lower back, those muscles are very powerful muscles, and with a strain, sprain, this is likely to help you there, but also can help you in general deal with stress, can help you to deal with things like sleep. It can help you to, in some sense, reduce the pain, because tension increases pain. It's all part of this cycle. So I'd like to give you that CD and also give you a handout of goals for pain management. There's some recommendations. You used a really good example of one when you said that you get off the riding mower, take a break. Pacing and planning is just one example of good pain management. There are a lot of other ones on there, and includes things like drinking as not a good way of dealing with pain, and about taking medications, about physical therapy, about a variety of things that you're dealing with as we discussed here today. So does that sound like something you might want to do, is go ahead and try that CD, look over those items on the goals for pain management, and meet next week?
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Okay,
because I would like that.
I think it would help you. It would help you on the recovery because you said you're very eager to return to work. But one thing you don't want to do is go back prematurely. And I know Dr. Jones wouldn't release you to go back to work until you're ready physically, but you also want to have a positive mindset because once a person's been injured, then there's a tendency to be concerned with re-injury and don't want that weighing on you. Want you to feel confident and know that you're managing these things well.
Yeah, that would be helpful because I am concerned about re-injuring it.
Okay, well, that's understandable. So did you have any other questions, comments, ideas?
No, I will. I do have a comment. I think the CD would be helpful.
Okay, great.
I do.
Great. I've given it out for a lot of years, and I do hear from people how it does help indeed. It's not anything real sophisticated, but that's one of the values. It gives you a tool in addition to other tools that you have at your disposal.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's look at it that way, and go ahead and we'll set up an appointment for next week then.
Very good.
Okay. All right, Joe.
Thank you.
You're welcome.